Right now there's more than 7 hogs in Iowa for every person in the state. Iowa's roughly 3 million people. We have over 21 million hogs in the landscape. Those are spread across somewhere around, depending on whose figures you believe, it's somewhere around 10 to 12,000 separate confined animal feeding operations just for hogs. That's not talking about cattle, we're not talking about poultry. The average adult size hog, say 175 pounds, is producing the waste equal to 10 adult human beings per day. Where does that go? It's collected in the big pits. That stuff lays in these big pits and ferments and creates immense clouds of toxic gases. You have to get rid of that waste. The most common practice is knifing it into the soil. Well, during the wintertime, they can't do that. And they're not supposed to spread it on the soil either during the wintertime because it runs much more vulnerable to soil erosion and running off because it's not going to soak down into the soil. So they have to figure out a way to deal with this stuff in the wintertime. There's not a lot of regulatory authority controlling what these guys are doing. There's so many opportunities for these guys to escape any kind of oversight whatsoever. You got a lot of operators who plain don't care. They just do not care. They're going to do whatever they can to maximize profits, and they're not going to pay attention to any, whether it's Iowa state law or natural law. They don't care. They're going to go out and spread the stuff across the frozen tundra, and let it go. And if someone complains, well, so what? What are you going to do about it? You going to sue me? There's just no regulatory authority. We can't collect the sewage from our own family and go out and spread it across the ground. You can't do that. You got to have some kind of certified septic system. That rule doesn't apply to CAFOs. When you're oversaturating the soil with so much liquid manure that's so heavy in nitrogen and other bacterial components that basically you're burning the soil, you're killing the microbes in it. And so that stuff is just so vulnerable to either running straight down into the drainage tile, going right into the creeks, feeding the groundwater systems, and feeding rural water systems as well as municipal water systems. So not only are the municipal water systems dealing with high levels of nitrates and nitrogen fertilizer, they're dealing with E. coli bacteria because the stuff is not breaking down. Over-concentration of so much waste, there's no positive outcomes for that, none whatsoever. It's the concentration versus disbursement model of growing animals. When we had 6 million buffalo running across the prairie, they moved all the time. They moved all the time. So you didn't have this heavy concentration of waste coming out of the buffalo. They'd move, they'd graze, they moved, they graze, they moved, they graze. That doesn't happen now. We've lost that. And it's just to the detriment of the very soil, the very organism that we depend upon for food production. We've got to put more give controls back to the county level. The legislature took away the ability for counties to regulate the siting of CAFOs. Completely boneheaded wrong approach. And a lot of counties are now starting to ask for that back. They have this document called the Master Matrix. Basically, it's a free ride for a CAFO operator to get a facility permitted and do whatever he or she wants. They can locate it wherever they want, and the county supervisors are left with hands in the air. There's nothing they can do about this. The consumer needs to be more aware of where they're getting their food.